All right, strap in, everyone, because we are diving deep today into some pretty mind-bending stuff. We're talking the Law of One, Book I?
Yeah, it's definitely not your average read, that's for sure.
Definitely not. So, for anyone who hasn't encountered this book before, just what are we getting into here?
Well, basically, it claims to be a channeled message from this being they call themselves Ra, who's supposedly a sixth-density entity.
Okay, right off the bat, we're in pretty esoteric territory.
We are, yeah. But even if we put aside whether any of that is actually true, what's fascinating is the content itself.
Absolutely, getting past the who and into the what.
Exactly. So the Law of One basically lays out this whole philosophical, I guess you could call it a framework for understanding reality, our purpose, all of that.
And one of the big ideas I know is this concept of all is one.
Right from the get-go, that's central. It's this idea that essentially everything, us included, is all part of this one infinite creator.
So, like, we're all connected, but on a level that's way beyond what we usually think about.
Much deeper, yeah. It really challenges that whole duality separation thing we experience in our everyday lives.
Yeah, it's a big shift in perspective. And is that where the Law of One comes in?
It is. That's like the fundamental law governing everything. Essentially, it boils down to the law of love and unity.
Hold on, love is a law, like gravity.
Haha, not exactly in the same way science would use the word law, but the idea is that love is the core energy holding everything together. It's what drives evolution, spiritual growth, the whole shebang.
Okay, I'm intrigued. But how does that actually, play out in our lives?
Well, one key idea is this concept of service to others versus service to self. It suggests that, as we evolve spiritually, we kind of align with one of these two poles.
Is that kind of like choosing between being good and evil?
It's not about morality per se, more about motivation. Service to others is about love, compassion, wanting to help the whole. Service to self is more about personal gain, control, that kind of thing.
So it's less about what we do, more about the energy behind it, our intentions.
You got it. And those choices, according to the Law of One, have a huge impact on how we evolve spiritually.
Okay, all right. So spiritual evolution, where's that all heading? What are we evolving toward?
Well, they introduced this concept of density. It's like a level of spiritual development. And they say Earth is right now moving from third to fourth density.
Density. What does that even mean?
Think of it like a frequency, a vibrational level, a stage of consciousness, whatever works for you. Third density is where we are now self-awareness, figuring out individuality. Fourth density is supposedly about love, understanding, where unity and compassion are the norm.
So we're all kind of climbing this vibrational ladder.
In a sense, yeah. And it's not like a sudden jump, it's a gradual shift. The whole planet raising its vibe, aligning more with love and unity.
Okay, I'm starting to get the big picture. But, this book also talks about pyramids, right? What's that connection?
Ah, yes. Pyramids, especially the Great Pyramid of Giza, play a big role.
So it's not all just aliens and spaceships then.
Well, extraterrestrial involvement is in there, but the focus is more on pyramids as, like, energetic tools.
Hold on, what do you mean tools? Like, for what?
Ra claims they were built as, get this, healing machines. And initiatory tools, they supposedly align with energy streams from higher dimensions.
Whoa, healing means. And what's this initiatory stuff?
Yeah, it's pretty out there. Basically, they're saying pyramids were designed to, like, harness energy and help with spiritual awakening, amplifiers of consciousness.
So like ancient tech, but instead of circuits and wires, it's shapes and energy.
Exactly. And they supposedly built them using hold onto your hat, sound, and thought forms to manipulate the stone.
Wait, thought forms moving matter. Now that is pushing it.
Haha, yeah, it definitely stretches the limits of what we think is possible, but the Law of One is all about looking beyond our current scientific understanding.
Mind-blowing for sure. But it's one thing to get these, big abstract ideas, right? It's another to actually apply them to our lives.
Absolutely. And the Law of One does offer some practical guidance on that front.
Okay, so, what are some takeaways? How do we actually live this stuff?
Well, forgiveness is huge. They present it as like a karma clearing tool, really powerful for releasing negativity.
Yeah, forgiveness comes up in a lot of spiritual teachings. What's unique about the Law of One perspective?
It's about understanding that holding on to anger, resentment, guilt, it creates blocks, like energetic blocks, preventing the flow of love and light. Forgiving others and ourselves is how you clear that out.
So it's not just about being nice, it's like energetic hygiene almost.
Yeah, good analogy. It's about recognizing that on a deeper level, harming others is harming ourselves.
Makes sense. Like we're all part of this web and negativity just gets tangled in it.
Exactly. And another key thing is balancing love and wisdom. It's not just about being all lovey-dovey all the time.
Right, because that can get you into trouble too.
Exactly. Love without wisdom can be naive. Wisdom without love can be cold and heartless. Gotta find that balance.
Head and heart working together, basically.
Right on. And they also talk about seeing challenges, difficulties as catalysts for growth.
Like instead of getting stuck in the suffering, find the lesson.
Exactly. The law of one suggests even the toughest stuff can serve us if we approach it the right way.
Okay, this is all clicking together. But what about meditation? Where does that fit in?
Oh, that's central. Rama calls it the most effective way to connect with higher consciousness, balance our energy, and connect with the Creator.
It sounds pretty powerful. But there are so many types of meditation, right? Does the book say which one is best?
It mentions a few: passive, active, visualization, but the key is that inner silence. Stillness of the mind. They have this great line: the mind must be opened like a door. The key is silence.
Beautiful imagery. Really gets at the essence of it.
Yeah, and that stillness is what allows us to really tap into that deeper wisdom within.
Man, this is fascinating stuff. But we've barely scratched the surface, haven't we?
Oh yeah, we've only just begun. There's so much more to explore, like this whole idea of wanderers.
Wanderers. Now you've really got me hooked. Tell me more.
So wanderers, according to the Law of One, they're basically beings from higher densities, like more evolved realms, you could say, and they've chosen to incarnate here on Earth to help with the whole planetary transition thing.
Okay, so they're like spiritual volunteers, helping us raise our vibration.
That's a good way to put it. But the thing is, they have to come down into third density, right? Which means they face this thing called the veil of forgetfulness.
Veil of forgetfulness. So they don't remember where they came from or why they're here.
Exactly. It's like, imagine being dropped in a totally foreign country, no memories of your life before, just this vague feeling like you're missing something, but you don't know what.
Wow, that sounds super disorienting. I guess it makes sense why the book talks about wanderers often feeling out of place, like they don't belong.
Yeah, that's a common theme, feeling like a stranger in a strange land, drawn to something bigger but not sure what it is. They might not fit in with the usual ways of doing things because they sense there's something more.
Okay, I can see how that would resonate with a lot of people. Folks who feel different, who question things. But if they don't remember their mission, how can they help?
Right, it's a bit of a paradox. But the book suggests that just by being here, by embodying those higher frequencies of love and light, they're already contributing.
So it's less about taking specific actions, more about just their energy?
It's not always conscious, more like a natural emanation. Some wanderers do remember and actively work to help humanity, but even those who don't are part of the shift.
Interesting. The idea that just existing can be a form of service? But how would someone even know if they might be a wanderer? Any signs?
The book mentions some common traits: longing for home, feeling like you don't belong, a big interest in spirituality, seeking truth. Could also be extra sensitive to energy, feel emotions very deeply.
Yeah, okay, I relate to some of that, but I bet a lot of people could say the same. Anything more specific?
Well, get this, the Law of One estimates there are like 65 million wanderers on Earth right now.
65 million. Wow, that's a lot more than I would have guessed. Makes you wonder.
Right. It really is about looking within, checking in with your intuition. Does this idea resonate with you deep down?
It definitely makes you think. You know, one thing that trips me up with all this is free will. The book talks about it a lot, but how does that work if we're all part of this one being?
Yeah, that's the classic philosophical conundrum.
Right, if everything is ultimately the creator, where does choice come in?
It is a paradox, but the Law of One suggests that within that oneness, there's also diversity of experience. We're all part of the whole, but we express unique individuality too.
So like we're all notes in this giant symphony, each playing our own melody, but contributing to the overall harmony.
Love that analogy. And within that, we have the freedom to choose our path. Service to others, service to self, it's up to us.
But if our choices affect everyone, doesn't that mean some are better than others?
That's where karma comes in. And the Law of One presents karma not as punishment, but as a balancing force.
So like a feedback loop, helping us learn from our actions, get back in alignment with the universe.
Precisely. Our choices create ripples affecting the whole web. Karma helps us understand those consequences and guides us toward balance.
Okay, so it's about understanding that our actions are interconnected, they impact everything. And the book also talks about forgiveness being crucial in that, right?
Exactly. Forgiveness is key to releasing those karmic blocks and restoring that energetic harmony.
But why is forgiveness so important? Doesn't that just let people off the hook for doing bad stuff?
In the context of the Law of One, it's not about condoning harm. It's about letting go of the negativity we hold on to, because ultimately that hurts us the most.
So it's about freeing ourselves from that burden of resentment, anger, all that.
Yes. Holding on to those things, it creates those energetic blocks we talked about, prevents the flow of love and light, forgiveness of others and ourselves, clears those out and lets us align with higher vibrations.
Okay, it's starting to click. Like we're choosing to untangle ourselves from that negativity web instead of getting stuck.
Exactly. And all of this ties into that whole fourth density transition. Choosing service to others, aligning with love and unity, it helps us raise our vibration and resonate with that higher frequency.
So it's not a guarantee, but it helps smooth the way.
It's about making choices that accelerate our spiritual growth, contributing to the raising of consciousness for everyone.
But what about those who haven't quite gotten there yet with all this? What happens to them during this shift?
The book describes a process they call harvesting. Basically, those who resonate with fourth density, they'll naturally transition to that new reality. Others will continue their cycles elsewhere.
So it's not like a judgment, but a natural sorting based on where we're at vibrationally.
Exactly. And remember, there's no right or wrong path, just different ways of expressing the Creator's infinite love.
Okay, seeing the bigger picture now. But I'm curious, the book also mentions other spiritual traditions. Does it see them as conflicting or?
The Law of One actually acknowledges a lot of different paths as valid, recognizing that they all ultimately point to the same truth.
Like different roads leading to the same destination?
Exactly. The key is to find what resonates with you, but respect other paths too. Focus on the core, love, unity, service to others, however that looks for you.
That's a really cool perspective, very inclusive. Find what worked, but remember what connects us all. But the book also talks about challenges, right? Like it mentions negative forces, entities from Orion who try to control and manipulate us. Wait, negative forces, like are we talking cosmic battle between good and evil here?
It's less about good versus evil, more like different vibrational frequencies and tensions. They describe these negative entities as stuck in the illusion of separation. They try to hold on to power through fear, division, all that.
So they're like energy vampires feeding off our negativity.
Good analogy. But the Law of One emphasizes that they can't mess with our free will. We always have the choice to align with love and light, resist that manipulation.
Okay, good to know we have that power. But how do we actually protect ourselves from those influences?
The best defense. Raise your vibration, cultivate love, compassion, discernment, become really aware of your thoughts, your emotions, and choose empowering beliefs. Align with that unity frequency.
So basically, conscious awareness of our energy and making choices that support our growth.
You got it. And that's where things like meditation, forgiveness, selfless service come in. They strengthen our connection to the one, to that flow of love and light. Makes us less susceptible to the negative stuff.
This is all fascinating, but I'm also feeling a bit overwhelmed, to be honest. So much to unpack here. Where do we even begin to apply this in our everyday lives?
Great question. And that's where the Law of One gets into the nitty-gritty. It talks about the energetic anatomy of the human body.
You mean chakras. I've heard the word, but not sure what they actually are or how they work. You mean chakras. I've heard the word, but not sure what they actually are or how they work.
Yeah, the book calls them energy sectors, and they line up pretty well with the chakras you hear about in Eastern traditions like yoga and stuff.
So not just physical spots in the body, but more like energetic gateways connecting us to something bigger.
That's the idea. And they say that if these centers get blocked, or if the energy's out of balance, it can really mess things up, physically, emotionally, spiritually.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like if the energy's stuck or going haywire, it would throw everything off. There are 7 chakras, right? How do you even know if one's blocked? And what can you do about it?
Each chakra has its own, job, in its own ways it can go wonky. For example, the root chakra, it's down at the base of the spine. That one's all about survival, grounding, feeling connected to the physical world.
So like if someone's constantly stressing about money or they feel kind of spacey, disconnected from their body, could be a root chakra thing.
Could be, yeah. Worth looking into. And there are things that can help balance it out. Grounding meditation, spending time in nature, that kind of stuff.
Good to know. What about the other chakras? Anything important to understand about them?
Well, going up from the root, you have the sacral chakra. That's about emotions, creativity, sexuality. Then the solar plexus. That's all about personal power, will, self-esteem. And then the heart chakra, right in the center of the chest. That's the big one for love, compassion, empathy.
Yeah, the heart chakra. That's got to be key in the Law of One with all this talk about love and unity.
It is. Rob calls the heart chakra the most important one for spiritual evolution. It's how we connect with the Creator's love and how we extend that love outwards.
Makes sense. Like the heart is the bridge between our individual self and that oneness of everything.
Exactly. And then above the heart, you've got the throat chakra. That's about communication, speaking your truth. Then the third eye for intuition, inner vision. And finally, the crown chakra, connecting us to higher consciousness, spiritual wisdom.
Wow, it's like a whole energetic map of who we are. Sounds like a lot to keep track of, though. How do we make sure they're all balanced and flowing right?
Meditation is huge for that. The book talks a lot about using specific meditations to activate and balance each chakra.
So you can like focus your attention on one during meditation and it'll help clear it out, get flowing again.
Yep. And other things help too, like yoga, energy healing, Even just being in nature can do wonders for your chakra.
Right, right. Okay, so the law of one gives us all these practical tools for personal growth, spiritual development, all that. But it also talks about living in harmony with natural cycles, right? Like the seasons, the moon, all that. Why is that important?
It goes back to that interconnectedness. We're not separate from nature, we're part of it. The cycles of the sun, the moon, the seasons, even our own bodies, it's all a reflection of this bigger cosmic order. Reminds us of that underlying unity.
So aligning ourselves with those rhythms helps us feel more connected, more balanced overall.
Exactly. It's like tapping into a deeper harmony.
This is inspiring stuff, but I got to be honest, it's kind of hard to square this with the world we live in, you know? So much conflict, suffering. It feels like the opposite of this beautiful vision.
It's definitely a challenge, but the book reminds us that even in the darkest times, the Creator's light is still there. It's about holding on to that, choosing love over fear, and trusting that there's a bigger plan unfolding, even when it's hard to see.
So focus on what we can control, our own thoughts, actions, energy. Trust that even small acts of love and kindness make a difference.
Yes, and remember, we're not alone in this. So many beings, both here and in other realms, are working towards this positive evolution. We can tap into that support, that network of love and light.
That's really comforting. So as we wrap up our deep dive into The Law of One, Book I, what are some key takeaways we can carry with us?
I think the biggest one is that we're all connected, part of this one incredible journey of evolution. And love isn't just a feeling, it's a fundamental force. It's what drives our growth, unlocks our true potential.
It's about choosing love over fear, forgiveness over judgment, unity over separation, recognizing our own divinity and seeing that in everyone, even those who seem different or difficult.
Yeah, and it's about using these tools, meditation, aligning with natural rhythms to help us on that path.
The Law of One offers a really hopeful vision, right? Reminding us that even in the midst of all the chaos, we have the power to choose love, to create a better world, to be part of this collective awakening. It's a journey worth taking, a journey that ultimately leads us back to the source of it all, the one infinite creator.